April 15, 2001, a storage unit in Oklahoma City. Among boxes of forgotten belongings, investigators find a small leather-bound diary. Its pages would unravel one of the most disturbing cases in American criminal history. She was known as Sharon Marshall, a brilliant high school student with dreams of working for NASA and a full Air Force ROTC scholarship to Georgia Tech. But Sharon Marshall didn't exist. She was also Tanya Hughes, and Dawn Novak, and Susan Lynch, each identity crafted by the man she called her father, a man who would later be revealed as her kidnapper. April 3, 1990, Highway 41, Oklahoma. A hit and run. The victim, a young woman in her 20s, an exotic dancer who went by the name Tanya. Her death seemed tragic but simple, until investigators found the life insurance policies, all 6 of them. But it was what they found in that storage unit diary 11 years later that changed everything. Pages filled with desperate pleas, cryptic references to other missing girls, and a secret so dark it would lead investigators to the bodies of at least 12 other victims across 7 states. This is the story of a girl who was stolen as a child, forced to live a lie, and ultimately murdered by the man who called himself her father. This is the Sharon Marshall case. 1969. A woman marries a man she met on a bus in Dallas. When she's jailed for 30 days, he offers to care for her 4-year-old daughter. She would never see her child again. By 1975, a man named Warren Marshall enrolls his daughter Sharon in elementary school in Georgia. She's bright, athletic, and seemingly well-adjusted. Teachers remember her as exceptional, but they also remember her father. Warren Marshall wasn't her father. His real name was Franklin Floyd. By then, he'd already served time for kidnapping and sexual assault. He was a fugitive, hiding in plain sight with a stolen child. Throughout Sharon's childhood, they moved constantly. Forest Park, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas. Each time a new school, new neighbors, new stories about her mother's death. In Phoenix, 1977, a school counselor noticed bruises on 8-year-old Sharon's arms. When questioned, Floyd withdrew her from the school the next day. They vanished for 6 months. By age 10, Sharon was solving high school mathematics problems. But her 5th grade teacher noticed something disturbing. Sharon would become physically ill whenever her father came to school events. Floyd maintained absolute control through isolation. Neighbors rarely saw Sharon outside. Those who did reported seeing her practicing cheerleading routines alone in the parking lot, her father watching from their 2nd-floor window. By age 13, Sharon was winning science competitions. But at home, Floyd was grooming her for something far more sinister. Police would later find photos, hundreds of them, the kind no father should take of his daughter. Forest Park High School, 1986. Sharon Marshall was the valedictorian with a full Air Force ROTC scholarship to Georgia Tech. Her dream was to work for NASA on the space shuttle. A high school friend spoke to investigators years later. Sharon would sometimes come to school with a vacant look in her eyes. One day, I found her crying in the bathroom. She told me her father had started bringing men to their house at night. She was saving money in a secret bank account. She wanted to disappear. The secret account held $2,500 from tutoring students. The money vanished the same day she did, along with her dreams of NASA. By senior year, Floyd had forced her into dancing at strip clubs. Then came the pregnancy. The transition from valedictorian to dancer happened gradually, then suddenly. The Gentleman's Choice in Oklahoma City, then Passions in Tulsa. Different cities, different names, but Floyd always collected her earnings. In Tampa, she danced at the prestigious Mons Venus Club. Here she found a friend in Cheryl Camiso, an 18-year-old dancer from New York. Floyd convinced Cheryl to film a suggestive beach video, claiming he could get her into Playboy magazine. When Cheryl discovered Floyd's welfare fraud and reported it, a violent confrontation erupted outside the club. Shortly after, she disappeared. Years later, her remains would be found in St. Petersburg, along with photographs hidden under Floyd's truck that connected him to her murder. By 1989, Floyd had crafted elaborate identities for Sharon. Each one came with meticulous documentation, medical histories, school records, social security numbers, all stolen from children who had died young. Then Floyd began taking out insurance policies, one after another, under different names. The money flowed into offshore accounts in Panama and the Cayman Islands, all linked to a single P.O. box in Kansas City. The last week of Sharon's life showed signs of desperation. March 28th, wiring money from Western Union. March 29th, withdrawing from different banks. March 30th, purchasing bus tickets she never used. April 1st, making frantic calls. April 2nd, arguing with Floyd outside a motel. The motel clerk was the last to see her alive. She tried to rent a room alone. He showed up minutes later saying something about Michael. She left crying. That was midnight. April 3rd, 1990, Highway 41. Multiple witnesses report a dark sedan swerving toward a woman walking along the shoulder. The third pass made contact. The accident scene was staged. No skid marks, no attempt to brake. But Floyd made a mistake. Insurance companies flagged claims with different names, but matching social security numbers. An investigator became obsessed, tracking paper trails that led nowhere. But Sharon's high school photos haunted him, those eyes screaming for help. After Sharon's death, 2-year-old Michael went to foster parents Ernest and Merle Bean. Under their care, the traumatized boy began to heal. But he drew disturbing pictures of what he called the sleeping girls in his father's house. 6 months later, Floyd appeared at Michael's elementary school with fake FBI credentials. The boy went willingly, told his mother was waiting. 20 minutes later, surveillance footage showed Floyd alone, buying a shovel and garbage bags. April 15th, 2001, Unit 172. Sharon's diary revealed decades of horror. Early entries showed confusion. Why do we move so much? Mommy looks different in every picture. The entries grew darker. Found newspaper clippings in his drawer. Missing girls from every state we've lived in. When I asked about them, he locked me in the closet for 2 days. The clippings led investigators to an abandoned farmhouse in Kansas City. Behind peeling wallpaper, hollow spaces filled with trophies. Photos, jewelry, locks of hair, each meticulously labeled. Behind a false wall in the basement, a makeshift darkroom. Thousands of photographs covered the walls. Sharon at various ages, unidentified girls from missing persons cases. Each photo marked with a code that her diary would help decrypt. 7 unsolved disappearances matched the newspaper clippings. Each girl resembled Sharon at that age. Each vanished without a trace. The diary's final entry was dated March 28, 1990, 6 days before her death. If you find this, my name is Suzanne. He stole me in 1969. There are others. Look in Kansas City. Look in the walls. The last page contained a list of 16 names. To date, only 9 have been identified. The others remain hidden, their stories waiting in the walls. In 2014, Floyd finally confessed to killing Michael, revealing he shot the boy twice in the head the same day he kidnapped him. His remains were never found. The investigation revealed Suzanne had given birth to 3 children. Michael in 1988, a daughter named Megan in New Orleans, who was given up for adoption, and another child also placed for adoption. Megan eventually connected with her grandfather, Cliff Sevakis. "I can't talk to Suzanne," he said, "but I can talk to Megan, and that'll do." Franklin Floyd died in prison on January 23, 2023. The diary continues to provide new leads, and investigators believe more victims wait to be found. Please like and subscribe for more stories like this.